Hi guys, Matt V's Movies back for another video, and today is a Halloween special. Today we're going to be looking at my top 5 horror films of all time. We're going to be looking at these from number 5 down to number 1 today on the channel. So welcome back. I'm not the biggest horror fan collector. I don't actually collect many horror films. I enjoy the genre and I do watch a lot of horror films, usually through streaming. But I do have a few horror films in my collection, and I'm not saying these are the definitive list. I'm no horror expert myself, but for me, I think these films are, in my opinion, the best horror films that have sort of ever been made. Horror is very much a genre that's it's got so many different subcategories to it, and to be honest, there are a lot of different films that you could probably put into a top 5, a top 10, a top 20. Very, very hard to do. And I think why horror is so popular is the fact that there are so many subgenres, and I'm sure people like particular types of horror films. I try to watch sort of quite a vast spread of horror films, but these particular films for me, I don't know, they sort of resonate with me in some way, and so we're gonna get into them from number 5 down to number 1. Okay, so in at number 5, Paranormal Activity. Now this is a found footage film, done extremely well. It was done sort of quite on a budget, and I think it was fantastic. I quite like sort of paranormal horror. I do find that an interesting subgenre, shall we say, and I thought the way that this was done was incredibly well told. And there was many sequels after this one, but I felt that this one really was the still the best. It really sort of quite disturbed me when I watched it. It was really sort of quite shocking the first time I watched it. On subsequent viewings, hasn't got quite the same impact, but I really do think this is a fantastic sort of horror film. Number 5 is Paranormal Activity. Okay, so number 4 is the film The Entity. Now again, based on a true story. This film, again, quite difficult subject matter, I thoroughly enjoy this film. From the 1970s, I believe. 1981 actually. Yep, fantastic film. I felt the ending of this was a little bit fantasy, but the main kind of part of this film is all to do with obviously the entity attacking this particular lady, and it has been recorded, that this did actually happen back in the late 70s, I think it was. So for me, the entity is number 4. Okay, so in at number 3, absolutely love this film. One of my all-time favourite classic sci-fi horror, I suppose this would come into, and it is John Carpenter's The Thing. I love this film. I thought it's absolutely fantastic. Every time I watch this, it's just brilliant. you know, the practical effects that were done in this, the setting, sort of the isolation in the snow, it's just wonderful. Wonderful score by John Carpenter. Yeah, I mean, I do like a lot of John Carpenter films, and I also really do like The Fog. I would have had The Fog in my top 5 possibly, but I kind of edged it out because I've already got a John Carpenter in here, and I decided that it would certainly be in my top 10, The Fog. But yeah, not quite as good a film in my opinion as The Thing. Yeah, but The Thing, wonderful film, this one. Fantastic edition from Arrow as well. So number 3 is The Thing. Okay, so we're down to the last 2. Now, to be honest, these 2 films are very close. On a different day, I could possibly put one in front of the other one. Very hard to choose from, but I've got to make a decision, and today I'm going to go with number 2, The Shining. Stanley Kubrick's masterpiece, in my opinion. Absolutely fantastic portrayal with Jack Nicholson in the lead role. Wonderful, again, that sort of isolation, all set in the hotel, you know, sort of in the deep part of winter. And it's obviously this guy sort of, you know, he slow sort of goes sort of mad, and obviously chasing his wife sort of around the hotel, and the little boy Danny sort of seeing, you know, sort of all the images of ghosts and whatnot. And yeah, this is absolutely fantastic, and easily on another day I could say this is my number 1 horror film of all time. Yeah, so it's number 2, The Shining. Okay, so my number 1 pick, and to be honest, this is a film that I didn't own until recently. To be honest, it's a film that I've only watched probably 2 or 3 times in my lifetime, and every time I watch this film, it's very disturbing to me. I'm not a religious person, but I do feel this. I can see why this film was banned originally, and I remember, I think it was back in the 1990s that they re-released it, and I was fortunate to go and see it at the cinema for the very first time. I'd never seen it before, and it really kind of shocked me when I saw it and felt quite disturbed by this film. And it's not a film that I watch. As I say, I think I've only seen it 3, 4, 5 times total in my lifetime. Now, this film was actually sent to me by Chris over at Cypher Sigma Screen Time. So if you've seen my previous videos, you know what's coming. So number 1, The Exorcist. Considered by many to be the greatest horror film of all time. And I think it is. I think it was just so well done. So disturbing. The possession and the sort of the good and the evil sort of battle between the priest and the demon that possesses Regan in the film. The practical effects were done so well. The makeup, some of the language used in this is quite, even by today's standards, quite sort of, you know, quite strong. And I can see why back in the sort of late 70s, early 80s, it was banned. I think the church did not like this film. They didn't want this being shown to audiences. But we are today. We've had a Blu-ray of this film, and now more recently the 4K version, which I was tempted to pick up. I was tempted by that sort of fantastic box set, the Amazon box set, but that has sold out. Since actually being given this by Chris, I haven't actually watched it. It's a film that sort of, it's one of those ones that you can watch just every so often. It certainly is something, unless you're a real sort of die-hard horror fan and you just love watching horror films all the time. For me, this is just a very occasional watch. And this one is the version you've never seen, so it's the sort of extended version, I think, with that sort of spider walk. I know the 4K that's come out, it's got both versions on it. But yeah, for me, number one, The Exorcist. Right guys, so there you go. So my top 5 all-time horror films, in my opinion. I'm not saying this is, right. It's just my own personal thoughts. And I'll be interested to hear your thoughts down below. And what's your favourite horror film of all time? Or your top 5 or top 3. I'd be interested to hear your thoughts. I know there's a lot of people out there that do love the horror genre, and it's as I say, it's such a wide, it crosses over so many subgenres. There's so many to sort of mention, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of different horror films within a top 5 of somebody else. But yeah, I'd be really interested to hear your thoughts down below. So if you're new to the channel, thanks for watching the video. I hope you had a good Halloween, or having a good Halloween. You've watched lots of horror films over the sort of October period. Why not consider subscribing to the channel? Click down below and hit the notification bell so you'll be informed when I upload a new video like this. As I say, I don't do many horror sort of videos, because that's not my main focus. My main things are action, sci-fi, martial arts. But as I say, I don't mind the horror genre. It's more of a sort of 1-2 time watch for me. But there are some films, as I've shown here, that I have in my collection. So yeah, please consider subscribing. Welcome back to existing subscribers as well. Hope you're all doing well and keeping safe. Please give the video a thumbs up. That really does help out the channel. It tells YouTube that you like these sorts of videos, and that encourages me to create more content for you to enjoy. You can also find me on Instagram. I'm over there and I post pictures from time to time. So yeah, if you're over on Instagram and you don't follow me, yeah, check out my Instagram page. Right guys, well, that's the end of the video. Take care. Happy Halloween. Boys and girls of every age, would you like to see something strange?